What's happening, folks? Coming up today, we're going to look back at Sunday's Cup triumph over Rangers. We'll talk about Celtic's form in the last 3 or 4 games, and we'll look ahead to that trip to Tannadice on Sunday. We're also going to look at the upcoming January transfer window as well. Here we go. Yes, folks, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched the content over the weekend. It's a real joy to be able to bring you content on big days like that for Celtic, where we've had massive wins and won trophies. Making the post-match pint on Sunday was absolutely brilliant. Love recording the videos on days like that. It's special. Everybody's still buzzing for the result. The dust's only just settling. We're scrambling around trying to watch clips at different moments for the game before we come on air, but just getting the chance to immediately relive it over a beer is a real privilege. I enjoyed that. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up at the end of this video for you. Looking back at the game, obviously it was chaotic. I thought we were really poor in the first half. I don't think that's any secret. I think even listening to a few of the players in their own post-match interviews, they admitted that they were a bit off the levels that they've set for themselves this season. I think that was clear, particularly in that first half. But throughout the game, I don't think we ever really got to our heights collectively, individually. And I think as that first half wore on, it looked like we were going to make a mistake. We were playing far too many square passes, too many backwards passes, and we were inviting pressure for Rangers. They were sitting in their shape and pressing us on the halfway line. We were finding it difficult to get through them. And as I say, it just looked like we had a mistake in us. But you go into the second half and the game changes on the pivotal moments where Carter Vickers intervenes in that 4-on-1 situation to prevent a second Rangers goal, and then Greg Taylor gets equaliser only a few minutes later. We get the luck, we get the break with a deflection off Raskin, but 5 minutes later, Dies Maeda gives a 2-1 lead, and the game is completely turned on its head. And you thought at that moment that we could go and take the game away from Rangers, given that we had all the momentum back with us, but it didn't materialise. We dropped a bit deeper again. We let Rangers back into 2-2, and when Kuhn scores with only 3 minutes left, you think that's us home and dry, trophy in the bag. But again, another lapse in concentration just a minute later let them equalise at 3-3. So I think across the game, I don't think we can say we were ever anywhere near a top level. But again, it comes back to mentality with these players, the winning mentality of these players and this team and this manager, yet again to triumph when they weren't at their best. I think they've got a real psychological hold over Rangers. It's been a long time since Rangers have managed to win a meaningful game against us, and that just shows you the winning mentality of this group. We lose 2 and 3 players every season, and we bring in new players to replace them, but that core group that have such a strong winning mentality, they prevail time and time again in this fixture, and they did that to go and shoot 5 perfect penalties in the Rangers' end, and for the goalkeeper to come up with a massive save for us to win us the trophy. It capped a brilliant day. It was a stressful day. I think it would take years off you if you had to sit through one of them every week. Maybe we'll have another one in a few weeks' time at Ibrox, who knows, but great to get over the line, and what a brilliant night we had. It looks like the players had a great night as well. I obviously seen the pictures of them at the darts last night, I think it was as well, enjoying it. That's good to see. They now have had that chance with a couple of days off to recharge after a big game like that, where you've put so much into it mentally and physically. I think sometimes we can see a psychological dump after winning a trophy. If you think back to the first trophy under Ange Postecoglou, where we beat Hibs in that final, we were away to St Mirren 2 or 3 days later. They made a really underwhelming performance where we looked mentally tired, and we drew the game 0-0. So I think having a free week is great for the players, just to take a couple of days with their families and switch off, and hopefully they can be refreshed and ready to go again when we come to Tannadice on Sunday. I think when you look at Celtic's form in the last 3 or 4 games, you can see that we've come off it a wee bit. It's difficult to be hard on the players given how well they've played all season, and they have played a lot of games. But I think in the last couple of weeks we've just slowed our play down again. I think you look at those games where teams have sort of took a man-to-man approach against us, and they've sat on the halfway line ready to pounce on us, ready to press us, made it really difficult for us to play through them. That sort of slow play has crept back in again. That's the thing that characterised last season, although it's been nowhere near last season's levels. I just think there's been a wee bit of a dip in the speed of our play and our rhythm in the last couple of weeks, and I think Sunday was the prime example of that. So hopefully a couple of days off this week and they can get back somewhere to a faster rhythm in the next 3 or 4 games. Obviously we've got these 3 games before that trip to Ibrox, away to Dundee United on Sunday, We've got Motherwell at home on Boxing Day, and then we're at home to St Johnstone. So we've got that run of 3 games there, and hopefully that allows the players to maybe find their rhythm again, get back into that faster rhythm that we had from earlier in the season. I know it's unrealistic to expect the team to perform at top level for 60 games in a season, and we're going through a period it's really congested right now. There's lots of games, but maybe this week off, going for the cup final, having a couple of days to recharge. They're back in training today. Hopefully they can get back towards that highest level and build towards that big game at Ibrox on the 2nd of January. But as I say, you can't be too hard on them. They've been brilliant so far this season. I'm delighted for them to get that trophy on Sunday, the first trophy of the season. There'll obviously be lots of talk in the media about, is it the beginning of a treble? What are the limits for the team this season? But you know that they always focus on the next game, and I think getting that chance to recharge this week can be absolutely massive for them. Now, we're only 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away now from the opening of the January transfer window, and obviously all the rumours are starting up again. All the silly season stuff is underway, but I don't think there's a huge onus on Celtic in this transfer window. I think everybody will obviously have different opinions about where we need to go and improve the squad. If you go back to where we were at this time last year, we felt we needed to do a lot of work in the January transfer window. That's not the case this time around, but I think there is a couple of key areas the club will want to go and improve. There's certainly 2 areas I would like them to look at. But first of all, I want to talk about players who might be on the way out this January. The first one is Lewis Palma. He's obviously struggled to get any game time at all this season. I think in the game time that he's had, the 2 that stand out are the start against Falkirk in the League Cup, and then he got a start against Dundee in that midweek league game at Celtic Park. He was really, really poor on both of those occasions. He had that hat-trick in the friendly game at Sligo, but aside from that, he's really struggled to make any impact, and it looks like he's not part of Brendan Rodgers' plans. Yang has been in ahead of him. When Forrest has been on and then we've went to the bench again, it's been Yang who's come on ahead of him. So he's been linked with maybe a move to the MLS. I think that could be something that arises in this transfer window. And I think it's probably best for him and best for the club. He obviously sees a couple of cryptic Instagram posts as well when he's been left out of different squads and missed out on games. And that's not great. That's not the kind of player that you want to have in the dressing room if he's not happy and he's putting stuff on social media around that. We obviously saw Sead Haksabanovic leave last summer after, albeit a more dramatic Instagram post than the sort of stuff Palma's put up this first half of the season, but I don't think you can have that, and I think it's only natural that Lewis Palma might be one that leaves in this transfer window. Other than that, Stephen Welsh is another one who's been linked. He's been linked with moves away for the last few transfer windows, and I think this season he's played much less than even he has done the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's another one who looks like he's slipped way down the pecking order, not really part of Brendan Rodgers' long-term plans. Could he be on the way out this winter transfer window as well? Obviously, he's had opportunities to go on loan before. I think there was even some permanent bids from Italy a year or 2 ago, so there has been interest in him, and Celtic have always opted to keep him. I think it might be best now for him and his career and for the club to maybe look for a solution there for him to move on. And the only other 2, if you look through the squad, that I can see anything happening around in January are Maik Nawrocki and Odin Thiago Holm. I know that Holm's been injured, and we don't really know where his fitness is at the minute. And Nawrocki is another one who's been a really baffling signing. He came in for £4 million from Legia Warsaw, and we thought we were going to have the next centre half in to really go and improve the team. It hasn't materialised. He's been terribly injury prone. It seems like every time he stepped on the pitch, he's came off with an injury. I think he looked good on the ball in his first couple of appearances for Celtic, but he's obviously still got a lot of development to do in terms of the defensive side of his game, in terms of his aggression and his physicality. And he's a young player, but again, he's another one who seems like he's way down Brendan Rodgers' plans, and I think he could maybe be one that moves out as well this January. Let me know in the comments who you think might move on in January. How many players would you like to see ship out? And more importantly, off the back of that, how many would you like to see Celtic bring in this January? So if we think about the key areas of the team that we might want to improve, the first one is obviously left back. We've got this situation where Greg Taylor's contract is running down and Alex Valle is only here on a season-long loan. So we could end up in a situation where we've got no left backs in the summer if Taylor's contract situation doesn't get sorted and Valle does return to Barcelona without signing another loan deal or coming back to the club on a permanent basis. There's certainly no signs of that at the minute. So left back could be a key area to sort right now for us. We don't want to be going into next season with an area of the pitch that we have to totally rebuild. We're going to have to navigate a Champions League qualifier next season, so you don't want that hanging over you. And I think this January window is going to be a key time for us to just sort out what's happening at left back. Whether it's giving Greg Taylor a new contract, again, to get us to the summer and for us to pin him down so that we know that he'll be here at least, and then we can look at the VAI situation in the summer, or bring in another long-term target at left back. I don't know, but that is the number one position on the list. I think if you look through the squad, we're all right in most positions. I think we've obviously played so well in the first half of this season. There hasn't really been any glaring areas that stand out that need massive improvement, but I think left back is one that'll be top of nearly everybody's list. Aside from that, I think a winger is another key position. We've just talked about Lewis Palma. If he has to go out, whether it be on loan or permanently this January, I think we're going to have to look at bringing somebody in, because we've got James Forrest there, but at this stage of his career, again, he obviously done brilliant at the end of last season. James Forrest, he's just signed that contract extension to give him another year to 2026, but then you've got Yang, and if Palma is to go out, I think that is another key area that we could really go and improve. We've obviously been linked with Michel-Ange Balikwisha from Royal Antwerp. He's a wide player. We were linked with him in the summer, if you remember. So that's obviously an area the team are looking at. He was injured in the summer. I think at the end of July he picked up an injury, so that kind of killed any chance of him getting a transfer in that window. But it's obviously clear that Celtic have kept up their interest in him. I think it's us and Ren who have been monitoring during the time in between these transfer windows, so that might be one that we're looking at. The rumoured fee is around £5 million. I think that's a big fee given how we're set up in the wide positions at the minute, but it would be, again, another real statement if the club can go and bring in a key addition in that area just to improve us, because as I say, I think if anything was to happen to Kun or Maeda, there might be a bit of a drop-off, so I think that is a key area for us to look at in January as well. So you can let us know in the comments below who you think might leave this January transfer window, and what are the key positions you would like to see Celtic go and improve as well. Please like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you at the weekend for the build-up to that game at Tannadice. Thank you.